Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Ivo here. Today I wanted to bring you guys a different type of video, something that I have been putting off for a little while now, but essentially, I'm notoriously known for uh, talking your guys' ears off. Last video that I made was a 45-minute full stance breakdown, and I know that a lot of people don't have the time and the patience, attention span to sit down for 45 minutes to learn the, intricacies and specifics of Victor as a character. So what I decided to do was make this video, which is how to play Victor essentially in about 15 minutes or so. I'm going to try to keep it around that time period. I know you guys are very busy, and so I want you guys to be able to take whatever you can from this video. This is more catered and tailored towards beginner and intermediate players, or people who are on the fence about playing Victor. They don't if they don't know if the character is for them or not. So I'm just going to highlight strengths, weaknesses, key moves, punishment, and game plan, and just some of my thoughts. Nothing too crazy. Without further ado, though, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Also, if you guys are interested in that stance video, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to that in the description and or the comments. So be sure to check that out if you guys haven't already. Okay, so getting into what kind of character Victor is. Victor is a hybrid keep-out range character with decent mix-up potential. He has several different strengths and weaknesses, and we're going to go over those right now. But first, I want to go over the key moves. So the key moves are the best move that he currently has, in my opinion, is back 1+2. This move goes like you don't even have to go too much into detail to really understand why this move is insane. It has incredible range. It hits outside of like range 3.4 right here consistently for just about every character. Some characters you can be a bit further out depending on the hip, like the body structure, I guess you could say, of certain males. And when it comes to females, you have to be a bit closer. But overall, when you're about this range, it's going to hit just about everyone. So insane move, power crush, heat engagers, just silly. I have a video on that if you want to go ahead and check that out. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Besides that, while running 2, insane while running move, counter hit launcher, +5 on block, and deals massive amounts of chip damage, as you can see here. Forward 1+2, similar to back 1+2 in the sense that it is a keep out option that you can use, but it's a bit chunkier. It does pretty significant chip damage, and on top of that, it hits the opponent grounded as well. So there's tons of utility in that move as well. And then last key move that I wanted to address before we get into the strengths and weaknesses is down back 4. Okay, down back 4, again, just like back 1+2 in the sense that it keeps your opponent out. Counter hit launcher, but it is launch punishable on block. +4 on hit. So it's very, very strong at doing one thing, but it's also decent at doing other things, right? You can use it as a pressure option if you're in close range, but in my opinion, I think it's best used as a keep out option to try to scout when your opponent is going to be pressing on timing or doing a lot of highs, jab strings, so on and so forth. Two other key moves that I wanted to talk about before we move on. It's normal 1+2 by itself. It's a 15 frame, +2 on hit, -8 on block, counter hit launcher. It reminds me a little bit of Leroy back 1+2 from Tekken 7 when he first came out. It has a very deceptive active hitbox. If you're like out here, you could potentially get a counter hit if your opponent presses the wrong button and Victor throws this move out. So very strong option, super quick. Highly recommend you guys use it. Down 2 is the other option. It is 0 on block. It is a heat engager, and if you are already in heat and you do this move, +5 or you get a combo. So do whatever you want. We're talking about the strengths and the weaknesses of Victor as a character. As far as the strengths are concerned, I mean, arguably some of the best range in the game with the moves that I mentioned. Back 1+2, forward 1+2. Good keep out with back 1+2 and down back 4. Easy approach game with while running 2. And then he has unique tools like down back 3, which is instant high crush, counter hit launches if it's like a jab string or just a slower high that your opponent's throwing out. And can be absolutely insane in the first 2 setting if you know how to get really creative with the options and the mixes. As far as the weaknesses go, Sometimes he has to live and die by some of the riskier options because if we're talking about the linearity of certain moves, Victor is pretty weak to both sides. So even at +5, like that move's not going to hit. That move's not going to hit. Down back 4 will hit, but the problem with down back 4 is that it can easily be option selected with sidestep right duck. So again, has to live and die by some of the riskier options, whether they be linear or super punishable on block. Even the low pokes, right? Down 4, -14, down 3, -13. A lot of characters can do something that's going to be beefy, and Victor's going to have to take a lot of damage, and some characters can launch -14 lows, -13 lows, so all of these things can be risky. All of these things have their own reward, right? He's not very strong in longer sets or death matches, and can easily lose to characters that have evasive gimmicks like Ling, or characters like Elisa that have good backdash, good sidestep, Lily, good sidestep, and so on and so forth. So keep those things in mind if you want to play Victor as a character. He doesn't have the best homing moves either. This is okay. It's not that good in my opinion. It doesn't really do anything. It does give you some plus frames on hit, pretty significant, but the range that you're at afterwards makes it hard for you to capitalize off that consistently. And so because of that, again, Victor loses to characters that have the ability to move laterally at a very high level. So again, keep that in mind. Alright, getting into punishment. Victor is 112, 10 frame +3. It is -12 on block. The entire string jails. So they can't duck any of these highs, but they get a 12 frame punish, right? So I guess that's okay. 2-1, 2-2-2, and 3 1+2 are his 12 frame punishes, all of which are pretty decent. I think that 2-2-2 is probably my favorite right now because it does the most damage, puts you in a stance, and it has like a little pseudo mind game attached to it. Up forward 1-1 is his 13. Arguably his best punisher overall in my opinion, because it has the utility of being able to do it from crouch, which is super strong, and not many characters have access to tools like that. And on top of that, it's +15, and it leaves your opponent in crouch with this big gap between you. So you have several options. You have the option to do forward 1+2. Most characters cannot backdash after that. Some characters can, some characters cannot. Besides that, you can take this opportunity to do raw perfumer mix, which makes the mind games a bit more dynamic, if you will. So that's super good. 14 frames. He has forward 4-1, heat engager, hit confirmable. As you can see, I had a small delay there. Maybe it's not hit confirmable, but it's as close as it's going to be to hit confirm. You can also do forward 4-2. This is not hit confirmable, but it's the inherent mix to 4-4-1, as in it is mid +5, and on block it is -12, so not too risky. Launchers, 15 frame. He has down forward 2. Decent range, I would say. It's not like super crazy, but it hits from around 2.3, 2.4, so pretty consistent. Long range punish, 4-4-2, big launcher. Not much to be said about that. It's kind of linear, but you use that to whiff punish moves that your opponent's throwing out at the deeper ranges. And then last but not least, I think the last punish is back 3-1. Long range punish. It serves as the consistent death fist, demo man, Asuka back 3, Asuka 4-2. Like essentially, this move at almost all ranges is going to punish those moves that give people problems to punish. You can also do back 1+2 to punish moves like death fist if you are unsure. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is the small mind game that you have when you do like Victor's jab strings, right? So there's 1-2 and there's 1-1, both of which are +8. So when you get that +8, just know that you're in a very strong position, because it's hard for people to move, and it's almost impossible for people to press anything in a retaliation to the majority of Victor's better options. 1-2-1 is something that I've been trying to incorporate a little bit more into my gameplay, but essentially it is a counter hit launcher if the last hit connects on counter hit. Okay, you get a little combo from that. If the second hit connects, then the third hit is guaranteed. So use that wisely, and remember, you can delay the last hit severely, which makes it very easy for you to catch your opponent. Now, if they decide to do a jab, then it will beat out the big delay. If you let the string rip, obviously, and do a jab, then it's gonna cook it. So for wall standing punishment at 11 frames, he has wall standing 4, generic, not much to be said about that. +5 on hit, -6 on block. For 13, I mentioned it earlier, from crouch he has upward 1-1, +15, knocks down, wall splats, 30 damage, super strong 13 frame punish. This is the punish that you're going to want to use against those big problem lows like Dragunov down 2, Jin down back 4, Jin down 2, etc., so on and so forth. If you are unsure if the low that you are scouting or blocking is -13 or more, you can always use wall standing 1+2, which is his other wall standing 13 frame option. It's +8 on hit, -8 on block, and if you hold forward, it'll allow you to transition into Perfumer stance, which will give you the option to go and start your mix-up and mind games. For 14, he has wall standing 2, which is +6 on hit and -8 on block. This isn't really a wall standing punisher as much as it's a counter hit scouting tool. You can combine this move with down back 4 because down back 4 is +4, puts your opponent into crouch, and so it'll allow you to easily lock your opponent down if you see that they're pressing anything, even if it's a down jab, any type of wall standing option. This combination, down back 4 into wall standing 2, is a godsend. It's going to help you immensely. And then for wall standing 15, he has wall standing 1, big, chunky, 20 damage launcher. If it is blocked though, it's -16, so you can get blown up for it. So use with caution. And as far as Victor's game plan, how you want to operate with him in the neutral game, you know, in Tekken 8 and with Victor specifically, it's going to sound so stupid, but you want to literally use his best moves in combination with his best moves over and over and over again until they work, right? And it pains me sometimes to see players of all skill levels, but more specifically, players of legacy background, people who have been playing the game for 20, 30, 40 years, whatever, old men, say ignorant things like, oh, Victor players and Victor as a character is just a carry character, and, you know, all Victor players do is back 1+2 and explosion and while running 2, right? But they don't understand that that is literally the way the character was designed to be played. Like, if you know, I hate to break it to you, right? But his small Tekken tools are trash. They're not that good. Look at the down 4-1 range. It's super stubby. I'm at range 2.10, right? That down 4-1 is whiffing. Super stubby, right? You want me to play small Tekken with characters like Fang, characters like Dragunov, characters like Jin? Like, I will lose that every single time if I wanted to play small Tekken, right? The jabs, they're okay. I think they're slightly below average, but, you know, you can work with them, you know? The low pokes, they're risky. They rarely net you any real value or pressure, or, you know, but when it comes to his big pressure options, while running 2, forward 1+2, they do a few things, right? They deal chip damage, which is a new mechanic of the game that you want to obviously be using. Chip damage is super good. They control space. They put pressure on the board, but they allow you to also gather information about your opponent's tendencies very easily. Using certain moves with the intention of gathering information is crucial to being able to find your heat engage options, because you have to use back 1+2 as a keep out tool, or as a tool to stop Dragunov from putting excessive amounts of wall running 2 pressure on you. That's gonna, you know, that's gonna be able to check him. You know, you have to do that. You have to be scouting those things. You have to do sequences like while running 2 on block into, you know, micro backdash space control, whiff punish with 4-4-1. Now you're in heat, and once you're in heat, the dynamic of the game has changed entirely, because now you have access to new things and improved options, right? So when you're in heat, down back 1+2 +6 does a pretty decent amount of chip damage and leaves you in stance, right? Pretty good. Besides that, EI down 2 gets buffed +8. Even more chip damage, even more pressure, and essentially gives you a free mix-up, right? But it also makes other options even more dangerous, even more lethal, okay? What am I talking about? Really quickly. EI is a great stance, but Perfumer 2 is like one of the best options that Victor has, right? for obvious reasons. Okay, so Perfumer 2 +1 on hit, and -8 on block. Now Perfumer 2/2 is +5 on hit, -4 on block, but it puts you into stance, right? Now when you're in stance, okay, what do you have access to after Perfumer 2/2? EI down 2, chip damage, mix up, so on and so forth, right? You see your opponent is starting to press now. What do? Now you let the options fly. Okay, what do I mean by that? Perfumer 2/2/1, counter hit launching high, -1 on block with pushback. You can duck it obviously, +12 on hit. Super dangerous for you to press after Perfumer 2/2. Okay. In addition to that, the high has a mix-up. What's the mix-up? Besides that, Perfumer 2/2 1+2 gives you the knockdown and the follow-up right after that. So now your opponent can't just press all willy-nilly, which makes EI down 2 in heat much more powerful. Just some final thoughts. If you want to know if Victor is the character for you, you have to ask yourself, what kind of player are you, right? What kind of player do you want to be? You know, do you want to be someone who lives and dies by the mix-up, lives and dies by the crazy good option? Because if so, this might be the character for you. It's big risk, big reward. I would say big risk, but bigger reward in a lot of cases. Because if that counter hit while running 2 hits, that's probably the game. That's all you need. If that counter hit down back 4 hits, that's probably the game. That's all you need. You know what I'm saying? You just need a counter hit. You just need to put a decent amount of chip damage on the board and then scout one option to really blow your opponent up. That's pretty much it. Anywho, thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you guys being so patient. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded a video. I recently got picked up by Endor as a competitor, so I'm super grateful for them, and I'm going to try my best to still put out content, but I'm going to focus primarily on improving my skills as a player, getting more fundamentally solid, and just taking the competing a little bit more serious in the content creation. But I will still be dropping videos, just maybe one a week, one every week and a half. I'm still listening to your guys' requests. I still appreciate you guys leaving all the comments and positive feedback on the videos, and stay tuned for more educational content. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. Hit your chest, King Kong. Dig. I don't get why y'all these niggas hate.